Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be doing a game review for the Bate Borisov Arsenal game. So we're going to start off with Arsenal's starting lineup. I'm not really familiar with Bate Borisov's team, so I'm sorry if I don't really review their starting lineup. But Unai Emery decided to go with a 3-4-2-1 formation where he started off with Petr as the goalkeeper. Petr is usually the goalkeeper for the cup games and stuff. I think Leno is usually the goalkeeper for like their Premier League games, so on and so forth. They decided to go with Monreal, Koscielny, Mustafi as their center backs, Kolasinac, Xhaka, Guendouzi, Maitland-Niles as their midfielders. It will be Mkhitaryan as their two forwards, and then Lacazette as their striker. So with this starting lineup, it started off really nicely in the game. When Arsenal first started the match, I think Unai Emery's plan was to exploit the sides as much as possible against Bate Borisov, and it was obviously working out really well. I think in the first 20 minutes or so, Arsenal were doing a very good job of exploiting that left mid and right mid, or that left back and right back position. They had two or three different attacking opportunities where Kolasinac got in behind the defenders, passed the ball one time to Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan made the shot, and the goalkeeper saved it. Mkhitaryan maybe could have done better in that situation, but the goalie did okay to spread out his body when he was going across. So can't say I blame Mkhitaryan too much for that. But is it a goal? Is it a chance that he could have scored? Absolutely. There was also the opportunity in the first half where, again, the pass was made to Kolasinac on the left side. Kolasinac makes the cross. Lacazette goes for the header, goes over the bar. So that was, I think, in my opinion, a wasted opportunity because he was alone. So if he just directed his header and kept the ball down a little bit, I think that could have resulted in a goal for sure to the left side of the net. But in a general sense, after the first 20 minutes or so in the game, I think Bate Borisov kind of realized, okay, look, they kind of keep exploiting our back sides or our back fullback side. So we're going to go ahead and bring one more person back to go ahead and cover Kolasinac. And once that started to happen, Arsenal didn't have any creativity anymore, right? If you look at their starting lineup, the only people that I can see in this starting lineup that I would consider creative in a way is Mkhitaryan and Guendouzi, right? I don't think Iwobi or Jacques or Maitland-Niles, I don't think these guys are creative people, right? So the only creative players that they have is Mkhitaryan and Guendouzi. So when that situation happened where, you know, Bate Borisov started to park the bus because that's what they were doing. They went 5-4-1. They had the five at the back, then they had the four midfielders to congest it as much as possible, and then as they were transitioning back and forth, they would literally at times have like 7 or 8 people in the back when Arsenal were about to cross the ball and so on and so forth. Because Arsenal were kind of forced to play that play style of having to cross the ball and stuff, they needed more of a physical presence, and they also needed another creative player, right? So I think that them having Lacazette in this situation wasn't the most ideal. I know that Welbeck is injured right now. But I think even if Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang started off the game, it would have been better if Bate Borisov kind of resorted back to that park the bus tactic. Because you could tell that they were definitely working for counter-attacking plays, going for the set pieces and stuff. They weren't really playing open football, if that makes any sense. At times they were attacking, and they did a good job of attacking when they win on the counter-attack. But it didn't really result in much, right? The strikers sometimes messed up their finishing opportunities. So on and so forth. So what went wrong for Arsenal? I think the biggest thing that went wrong or is wrong with Arsenal's team is that the balance is just not there. I think Xhaka, for me personally, every time I see Xhaka play for Arsenal, I don't think he offers anything in the team, right? I think he's kind of like a wasted position. I think Torreira should be the guy that starts ahead of him, strictly because I think that duo partnership between him and Guendouzi, for me personally, would just be a better partnership. Xhaka's just not the type of player. I always thought with Arsenal's team, it would have been better if they win after William Carvalho. I think he would have played that role really nicely. If it was William Carvalho there and Guendouzi in the midfield, I think it would have worked out really, really nicely. I'm not sure what's happening with Mesut Ozil with Emery, but Ozil is probably one of the more creative players you probably needed in this game after the 20th minute, because the creativity just wasn't there that much, right? Alex Iwobi had like an up and down game. He had some moments where he really screwed up, but then he had 3 or 4 really nice passes to Kolasinac to open up the space for the fullback to cut inside, make the pass, so on and so forth, and try to create the attacking opportunity. So at first I kind of thought, okay, maybe it would be best to take off Iwobi and then put on a Aubameyang, but I just felt like the whole Arsenal team, like no one was really doing that great. Guendouzi for me personally is the one that, I don't know, he's just one of the most consistent players. I think Kolasinac had a really good game too, because Kolasinac was definitely working very hard to open up the space on that left side. Even when Bate Borisov was playing that park the bus tactic, I think he was trying to exploit that side as much as possible, and he still did a very good job at it, to be fair to him. The substitutions that Emery made. So the first one, he decided to remove Maitland-Niles. I didn't agree with this one, to replace him with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, because I think Maitland-Niles played his role really well. Not really well. I think he played his role well. I don't think it was a requirement to take him off, because I realized that once he took Maitland-Niles off, I think he wanted to go for, I guess it was more defenders at the back because Borisov was playing park the bus so much. But I think it would have been best to, because the fullbacks in real life, right? Fullbacks are such an important part of real life football, because they allow you to have that extra space that they open up. They make that overlapping run for you to make the cross, right? And I feel like when he took off Maitland-Niles, they were missing that presence on the right side to make that cross, because the only way you're going to get past that defense that Bate Borisov was playing, or that defensive style that they were playing, was to exploit the sides and try to cross the ball in. I do agree with putting Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in, because he has more height to him. I wouldn't say necessarily physical presence, but he has more height to him, so he can win the ball in the air more often than a lot of players, right? I do think in this game in particular, I think Welbeck would have been a very good substitution to make if he wasn't injured. Ozil for sure too, if I guess he's just having like a falling out with the manager or whatever it is. This substitution I 100% agree with. Taking off Granit Xhaka for Lucas Torreira. Like I said, I don't really think Granit Xhaka offers anything to Arsenal. Every time he's on the pitch, there's no characteristic of his that's like, oh, you know what? This guy's pretty good to have in our team, right? Sometimes his passes are okay, but they're generic. I feel like you can have another player that can do something similar. Like I said, a William Carvalho in that position, for me personally, would have been better. Because that man's composed like crazy. But Lucas Torreira going on the pitch for Granit Xhaka makes more sense, because you have more of an aggressive player that pushes up, comes back, pushes up, comes back. There's a part of your game plan that you have when you have Torreira on the pitch, right? And then he took off. Another one I did not agree with is he took off Kolasinac for Denis Suarez. And I personally thought it would have made more sense if he took off Monreal and then put on Denis Suarez, if you wanted to have a quote creative / attacking player, because Denis Suarez is not on the level of creativity like players like Ozil and stuff, right? But with game time, he might get better. Who knows, right? But yeah, I didn't agree with that either, because Kolasinac was doing a very good job of exploiting the fullback area. You know, trying to exploit that space to get in behind, make those crosses in. So, to be honest with you, when he made these substitutions, it looked like he was going for more of an attacking approach, because Bate Borisov literally had like one striker up there, right, when they were like defending as much as they were, and then they would just kick the ball up, and if the striker got the ball back, then the people who were transitioning from the defense to the attack, then they would push up, but then nothing would really come from it that often. Obviously, they got the set piece, which when you play the park the bus play style, that's kind of like what you're going for. They got the set piece, and it was a beautiful header by the Bate player. Very, very nice. I think it was Stanislav Dragun. Stanislav Dragun. Very, very good header. Full props to him. Very, very... From that position to bend your neck and hit the power to that left side was beautiful. So I give him full props for a header like that. And in real life, I always give credit for someone hitting a header in that style, because it's very hard to pull those off. Alexander Lacazette deservedly got a red card at the end. I think he let you can kind of tell as the game was progressing, he let his emotions get the better of him. So it was definitely a deserved red card. Kind of goes into the shoulder and then lifts his arm up. You know, there was definitely intense there for Lacazette. So I definitely think that he should have been sent off. But yeah, in a general sense, it was a disappointing game. Wasn't entertaining. It wasn't really entertaining, but obviously not all games can be entertaining. It's always looked at from a tactical point of view. But what went wrong for Arsenal? I don't think they had enough creative players. I don't think they took their opportunities when in the earlier parts of the games when they needed to, because if they took those opportunities in the earlier parts, they would have been in a better position. I think the thing about football, right, is that a team like Bate Borisov, if you score 1 or 2 goals in the beginning of the game is completely different, because it might actually make Bate Borisov more open, because it's they're at home, right? So they want to try to score as much goals with their fans behind them as much as possible, right? So now that the game is different and the game is 1-0 for Bate Borisov, they're probably going to be playing, you know, a hold on to the lead type situation when they go to the Emirates, because I don't really see Bate Borisov doing that well in the attack when they go to the Emirates. I think that to be honest, with a different pitch, because the pitch was, for me personally, it was unacceptable to play on, because there was recently a game in the Portuguese league where Belenenses had a field similar to that, and they got fined because it was an unacceptable field to play on. It was worse than that Bate Borisov, but it was very close. It wasn't like it wasn't like worse, but it was slightly worse, right? And they got fines for that, and that's in the Liga Portuguese, right? So, you know, a European competition like the Europa League, it's a little bit odd that that kind of flies by, because if people realize, you know, Arsenal had set pieces, their corners weren't taken really well. Again, can be blamed on the pitch, because every single person did it. Even the Bate Borisov players always hit it to the near post, right? But yeah, the pitch was awful. The ball was bouncing everywhere. So many times Kolasinac got the ball and the ball would just literally bounce right before it got to his foot, and he had to control it and try to get in. You know, it's very difficult to play on a pitch like that. So is this a result that Arsenal fans should be concerned about? I don't think so, because I don't really see Bate Borisov doing anything when they go to England to face Arsenal. So it's more about Arsenal being good on the attacking opportunities and trying to exploit Bate Borisov's team as much as possible on the defense. But the only way I see Bate Borisov scoring is from set pieces. I don't really see them scoring from open play, because there wasn't much creativity from open play from them. But I think Emery's substitutions this game, some of them I don't agree with, but he's the manager. Obviously, he knows better than I do, but it's just my opinion, obviously. Alexander Lacazette's red card was obviously deserved, and that's pretty much it. The other games that we had here was Benfica winning 2-1, which is a very, very, very good result for them, because they were away from home. So 2-1 result for them is good. Sevilla 1-0 against Lazio, 1-0 away from home as well. So a great result for them. Inter Milan 1-0 away from home against Rapid. Again, a very, very good result. So I'm going to go ahead and watch the Chelsea game. That's my opinion on the Arsenal game. I think that they were missing a creative player in someone like Ozil, a physical presence in someone like Welbeck, if they're going to play that play style to play against that Park the Bus play style that Bate Borisov was playing. So hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I will see you guys for the next game today, which is Chelsea versus Malmo. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.